Gary here. Welcome to BookMob episode 100. How about that? 100. All right, today I'm just going to do a quick review of a book that I read many decades ago, and then I just reread it. Now, it's by Robert A. Heinlein, Starship Troopers. Now, most people would know about Starship Troopers from the film that was made, I think, in the 1990s. Crazy film, funny. But again, they chose to make a film that really has nothing to do with this book. I mean, name only, and of course the sort of monsters. But the crazy thing about this book is, to me at least, it's a very serious book on what are the best ways to run a civilization. Hard authority, fascism, communism. What is the best way for all that doesn't mean that everyone's the same. The book questions, rightly so, the militaristic nature of civilizations throughout history. It's very rare that you have a society like ours, which is still partly militaristic. But I think Heinlein here this was written in 1959. He did serve in the Navy, though he didn't. He was too young for World War I and too old for World War II, I think. And he did. I think he was an officer, a junior officer in the American Navy. Now, this book is filled with allusions to a global government. It is also very direct about the militarization of society as the only way to maintain a global government that everyone follows. He does demonstrate through his characters that no matter who you are, if getting into the military and becoming an officer, which he describes in this book, pretty much like I was in the army, and I did 4 years as a soldier, and the basic training and the recruit training that he talks about in here as a regular soldier is pretty close to the actual experience. And obviously, because he went through it, he was drawing on that, I assume. But the uniformity, the militarization of the mind, how people who join the military in this book are given a certain advantages in life post their military career. However, the military is filled with people with no arms, no legs, who have been injured in battle and are kind of given this role as forgotten once you've done your duty, so to speak. And there's not much actual combat in this book. Nothing near what's portrayed in the film. Now, the film, again, I think completely demoralizes what I think Heinlein was trying to say. It's more of like I said in my one of my titles, it's a manifesto. I think he's trying to read through what was coming in history with technology, with the cultural differences, social changes. And in some respects, he did kind of see what was going to happen in the future. And it wasn't, I'm not talking about bugs invading Earth, because that happens in this book, but it's in the periphery. It's not part of the main scope of the novel. The main scope of the novel is seeing this militaristic world rise through the eyes of the major character. There is this constant reminiscing about people who have been killed, like the war is kind of going on in the background. And I think it opens up with the story opens up with them doing a mission, some kind of mission, and it goes through the kind of clothing that they wear, the armor, and they sort of parachute. They're like the airborne. They get into battle through pods that are blasted from outer space onto the planet Earth, and you get a sense of feeling that, especially in the Second World War, where airborne soldiers used on all sides was a huge component of the war, managing to drop thousands of men behind enemy lines and things like that. So you get the idea that he saw the coming age of the World War II when he was a young man, and in 1959 he wrote this book. So again, it is a bit of a dry read. It's not exciting. It's not gangbusters, aliens versus humans throughout. Nowhere near it. If you're going to read this book because of the film, look at this book as a superior client, because the film is a shoddy cousin of this book. And I wouldn't say that this is going to be entertaining unless you, as in my case, you start to read it and you see, this is what he's trying to convey. Not just this brainless war against these big monsters and spidey things, or whatever, the creepers, whatever they're called. That's part of it, but it's essentially, it's how society survives by military power, installing a military mindset in the population, and then getting that population to go along and agree with whatever the military does, good or bad. Anyway, that's just it for me. Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein. He's written loads of books. Stranger a Strange Land, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. The guy was pretty prolific. But this book, the reason, again, I want to say it again, the film is nothing like the book is nothing like the film. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that one. And what am I reading next? Oh yeah, I've just finished. I just finished Andy Stumpf's Drown Proof. It's a book by a former SEAL. I don't know if you know. Andy Stumpf has a podcast called Cleared Hot, and this is his kind of memoir, I guess. And in the memoir, he's trying to elicit advantages that you should take in order to live a good life, whatever that is. And I'm going to read Random Acts of Sexual Violence, and then I still haven't read this one, Time After Time, about Jack the Ripper in 1979. Looks crazy. Can't wait. All right, thanks. That's another episode of BookMob, and I'll see you next time. Bye.